Okay, cool. So welcome everybody to Holochain-in-Action number X. I don't know what number it is, and it's okay. So the context for today's session is we want to be able to map modules that are being used inside apps and the dependencies between them. So for example, elemental chess depends on profiles as a module, and other projects depend on profiles as well. So the goal is if we can map the modules and dependencies needed like in the best architecture possible, we can share a lot of code and a lot of front-end and back-end code both, and then we can help each other grow the ecosystem far more than if everyone is going about and implementing the same things in 10 different ways, right? Resilience and like doing things in slightly different ways is also useful, but for now we are trying to see where the overlap can be turned into a composable thing, right? And Holochain tends itself a lot to the composability of modules. So that's what we are trying to do. Victor, any words context for this as well?
Maybe I'd just like to add that there are lots of, we've been discussing over the last few years, lots of applications that have such a large degree of same functionality, or like things that keep coming back up. So it's, and especially with how we've been thinking about, or how Holochain is really poised or useful to think about microservices based design. It's really cool to see that once we have a few of these things running, you can make really interesting applications quite easily with just adding one or two different pieces. So I'm just really, that's really fun to see where we go.
Cool. So for that, we are going to be using Acorn. So let me share my screen. Oops, this is not Acorn. Haha. Okay. So I just went to the release. I put the link in the chat. I went to the release and I downloaded the .app image, and this is what I get. If it doesn't work for you, then that's fine. I'm going to be playing in my screen, but the idea is that this is the first session, and we start to map the dependencies here, and throughout time, this Acorn project gets updated to add, modify dependencies between projects and so on as the ecosystem itself evolves, right? So this is the first session of, we don't know exactly what this is going to convert into, but yeah, we see that as very necessary within the Holochain ecosystem as well. So I'm talking a lot. Yeah, Hedayat.
Yeah, again, a few sentences about what is Acorn, and Connor, sure. Can you, if you can introduce, it would be fantastic. What is Acorn?
Sure. So I don't know, Eric, if at some point like you wanna do it, or if not, I can do it. So Acorn is a really cool project management tool. I wouldn't say it's more than a project management tool, used to be able to display tasks and goals of the project as a tree, in which top level priority goals depend on lower level priority goals, and you build up from the bottom up to the top all the things that need to be done in order to accomplish the priority overarching goal of the project, of the organization, or of whatever, right? And this is going to get clearer once we get to the project screen. So let me go do that also. So welcome to Acorn, sign me up. I'm going to put my name. And you all can be doing this if you want to join the project. You can all be doing this on your site. Profile picture, our URL. Okay, let me go ahead.
So while GM filling out the data, what does it mean you can do it in your site? It means you need to go to the Acorn GitHub. I'm gonna share the link in the description. You need also to download a launcher. Launcher is the project that you can execute, yeah?
Nope.
No, you don't need the launcher. It's a standalone.
Ah, it is a standalone. Okay, yes, the project and run it and just at the same ID. Excuse me, you don't need launcher for Acorn. Sorry, that's it.
That's okay, no worries. Okay, so I got my totem here, ready to start setting you up. Okay, so as you can see, the UI is amazing. It's really well polished. So let's create a project. This is going to be like modules and dependencies. I don't know, something like this for starters. Going to just create project. Okay, and I'm going to copy this and send it to you. For now, we are going to have this so that everyone can join. In the future, we may want to like create a separate project or whatever, but for now, let's have anyone watching this be able to join also. So done, and now I'm here, and on your side, what you should do is join a project and paste here the 5 words that I put in the chat. Right, so
I got in.
Okay, you got in. That's awesome.
Yep.
So hold G and left click. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to fill, for example, profiles. Yeah, it works for Eric, I'm sure. Let me know if it does work for you, Tats, also.
Yep, I can see it.
That's awesome.
Oh, that was almost instant.
Yeah.
And DM, let me mention maybe to reassure that the visitor can understand. This application is built based on the Holochain. It means it is a real peer-to-peer application based on the Holochain. We are using Holochain application to mapping our ecosystem inside the Holochain. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and it's really exciting that we can already start to do these kinds of things. Really, really, really exciting. Okay, so for example, just finishing my explanation of Acorn earlier. So for example, Elemental Chess, right, which is an application that we have developed with ICE, Elemental Chess. Depends on profiles, right? So as a module, the code of Elemental Chess has a direct dependency on profile. So you can express this dependency like this. And we are going to be adding more modules and projects here. So at the end, we get a tree of the different dependencies that can exist between the projects, right? This is the idea. And you can also, I think we could use the colors to express the look. Okay, so this is amazing. So Elemental Chess depends on profile. Keyzone also depends on profile. So we have a really clear, already emerging kind of base module. And this is also really cool because you get visibility on bottlenecks and things that the whole ecosystem should be taken care of, right? So if a lot of people depend on profiles and profiles is not taken care of, that indicates that there is something that needs to change, right? So I think we can also use the colors to express the status. So profiles is, I would say, almost ready. It's only missing some piece of documentation. So, okay, look, incomplete, in process, in review, complete. What? In process, let's put it in process for now. And Elemental, it's so awesome to be doing this, like, and with everyone and everyone being able to add this on real time, like I am having such a great time. So, okay. in process. How do we want to do this? Like now we've set the context and people are already putting things there. Do we want to go a bit and each of us in turn seeing what projects we are excited about, what we have already built and map that out to have others' visibility on the projects? How do you like that idea, Victor? What do you say?
Yeah, I think that sounds great. I'm trying to we won't open up the 0.5.5. I was doing the 0.5.4 earlier today, so I can't join right now, but I can speak still, which is great. So I mean I'd be really happy with going around and seeing what people are doing. I can just throw in that's the first thing. I can throw in the distributed library application that I've been playing with since the first hackathon in Copenhagen, like 4 years ago or 3 years ago, and that really is. I mean that definitely needs profiles as well. It's actually a little hard just to know what is needed. I mean, there is some sort of, like we were talking about, some sort of managing of an item as a borrowing, like we were talking about with borrowing tools or borrowing anything. There'd be that kind of loans functionality, and I'm not sure if that's a separate module or if that's just a pattern that needs to be thought about how to keep, because it could, we talked about it, for instance, as being something that gives you a trace of where that, for instance, a book, where it's been before, so you know that if it comes back missing half the pages, you can kind of see, well, who had it before you did. So that's something that we thought about having in there, but I'm not sure if that's a module or how do you think about that, Gil?
That's kind of cool to have that as a module, because so you could have that for a book library. You could use it for little free library tools. It's an interesting module, like to think through what lending, like item lending is. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't know yet if this is like chain of custody. So like we can go as far as doing chain of custody, and then also even NFTs can work with this. I'm not sure, but for sure I agree with Eric. Like a lending borrowing thing.
Oh, you know what? The general form of that is stewardship.
Okay.
Right? Who's the steward right now? And so there's an interesting thing that a library is a pattern where the steward, you return it back to a different kind of steward. But if somebody is a steward for a while, and so you can, that's actually interesting as a social DNA as well, thinking it all in terms of just stewardship and what are the particular responsibilities attached to different types of stewards.
Yeah. Should we, Victor, what do you say? Should we create a stewardship module for now?
Yeah.
I think that would be awesome.
So someplace in the UI, there's a way of having the scroll wheel zoom, and I don't know where that went. Like you can flip modes, but it stopped like for me. Oh, for you is the scroll wheel zooming?
No, it's doing this. If I plus and minus does this.
Yeah.
And then control and wheel does the zoom.
Oh, okay.
Guillaume, how are you moving the cards? Do I just press on it and then drag it?
I'm not actually moving them.
Cards can't be moved.
Oh, they can't be moved.
It's an automatic layout. So what you do is it'll lay it out automatically according to what the tree structure is. I think it's in the deck to have movable cards, and basically the typical way that the cards are moved will be moved by priority. but so it's not a generalized tree editing. Well, it's not like you're doing it in Miro, where you can just move everything around where you want. It's meant to be about the semantics of the tree, which is possibly means it's not a perfect match for this particular tool, for this particular path, but it's sure it's fun to be using it.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Anything else, Victor?
I mean, we can go around a little bit. I can think for another while about what comes up in there. If somebody else wants to share a project for now.
Anyone?
Well, I definitely want to put personas and profiles in here. I mean, we have profiles, which is the one you've been working on, but we're going to be working on personas and profiles, which hopefully will be a very powerful way of managing the whole question of what data you're sharing with whom about who you are. So that'll be coming soon. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Hopefully profiles will become dependent on that.
Yep, totally. And then really the profile zones that exist right now, if it continues to exist, it will be as a complement to that, really. Nothing more than that. If I'm understanding things correctly, but we'll see. We'll see how this turns out. Cool. What else? Like even if it's things that you already put on the screen, if you want to cover them. Like, for example, I want to draw this arrow, which is from P2P message developed by Kizuna. We want to be, or maybe this is not working somehow. Oh, maybe this is not working.
No, this is a limitation.
Okay.
Another limitation, which is you can't have DAGs. It's a single parent. Things can't have multiple parents. And I think
things can have multiple, but they do here.
I had the same problem, but I draw from top to bottom, not bottom to top. It means from V to go. Draw from V to P2P. Yeah.
Wait, okay, so we can depend on Kizuna, but not on P2P message? Okay.
Well, there's also some kind of gossip issue because I'm not getting P2P message on my screen. So.
Okay.
So you're right. There is some things with multiple parents, but.
Actually, on my end, P2P message moved to we now.
Yeah. See, I think what happened there is it rehomed. You can't have multiple parents. So there you're seeing a bug here, and I want to talk to Connor about multiple parents. And so it may not be possible to use this tool right now for the purpose, because I think for dependency trees, you have to have multiple parents.
But I'm seeing multiple parents, for example, in profiles.
I know, actually, I see it too. So I'm curious about that. I thought that maybe it's partway implemented. But
okay.
so P2P for you, Tats, moved to, well, for me, where is it? Is it, I don't even see it.
It's, for me, it's under we now, beside file storage.
And for me, it's nowhere.
Yeah, it disappeared for me too.
All right.
And if you do Control R, Tats, and reload your screen, what happens?
Let's see.
Did it go away?
So, oh, now it's gone. Yes.
Well, so that's interesting. Here, I'm going to write these things down to talk to Connor about. Oh, look, now it popped back up.
Oh, it came back. It came back. Yeah, for me too.
Because I just created one.
Oh,
yeah. and now it's here. Right. Okay. Okay, so maybe what we can do for now is the things that we cannot add as expressive as we want, we just do like Hedayat did, which is add them in some form. Like for example, I should be able to do this, okay, but we don't draw the other arrow.
Yeah.
But this is really fun either way. Okay, so I was thinking that I want to include, so for context, it's like a way to create first the group. So I'm creating first my working group or whatever, and then inside that group I can install a smaller and pluggable DNAs, right? So I create my work team, and then inside that work team I add the chat capability, or I add the file storage capability, or I add X capability, right? So really it's just a way of having the membranes be the first thing. So first you create the group, and then you add capabilities to it. And we are working with this with Eric, and we are starting to get to a point in which other things can be ported over also. So I would really want to do the peer-to-peer message, which is the module for Kizuna that implements my personal messaging with another agent, right? So no channels, no group, and so on. So we'd like to import that in we. At least I'd like to. And for that, what it's needed is a special UI. So let's see if I P2P reusable UI. Oh, what happened there? Oh, I don't know what happened there.
Whoa.
What?
I have 8 P2P reusable UI on my screen. 8? This is 8. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
5, 7, 8, 9.
That's cool.
Wait, so that means you basically got the signal 8 or 9 times, and it added new ones
Yeah.
or something like that? Okay.
I think so. If I refresh, probably it's gonna go. Yeah. I think that's what happened, because it's gone now when I reloaded.
Okay. Connor's gonna have to watch this to be able to see what happened and see all the different things. It's being recorded. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Talk about really good debugging feedback.
Yeah. Okay, anything else? Any more ideas, everyone?
Oh yes, I got the exact same thing. I'm gonna take a screenshot. That's awesome.
Guillaume, can we also go for a little bit imaginary? It means we can say later on, let's create something with a different color. For example, let's go for the blue, that we can have some space if others would like to go for it. For example, mutual credit. You know, we have Imran here. Maybe he would like to continue. We can say we are going to have a space for a mutual credit as a building block. So with a different color, yeah.
Absolutely.
What else we can imagine actually?
Yeah, I like that. I love it.
Something that we were talking about today a bit is this thing that we are sorely needing, which is kind of a time management, or like a task management thing for we're running a mushroom production business, and then we need like who's doing the cleaning, who's doing the harvesting, who's doing all those kind of things, and to be able to set that up and have be able to assign myself to one of the tasks and be able to see which tasks are unassigned and all that kind of stuff. So those being able to define a task and putting it in time is something that really is really needed. And I'm guessing that's kind of a basic thing for all operational software.
Mm-hmm. So and just to clarify, this would be a very different process than what we are doing in Acorn, because this is also task management, and you can do things like squirrels and I can add me here, right? But in your case, this would not be really the flow you're looking for.
No, it's more, things would be like reoccurring tasks, and it would be basically be more of a calendar, like a joint calendar, but
right.
I can see my view of the calendar, which is I need to do this, this, and this, and also to see the view of the calendar of all the stuff that hasn't been assigned to anyone, but still really needs to happen at a certain time. So those kind of things is because we're nobody's really keen on being like the person looking after other people. So it would be so nice to the degree that it's possible to have that self-management possible.
Yep. Totally. So calendar, it would be like calendar events plus some task assignment complement.
Yeah, I think that. And what we've, yeah, I think those are good parts. And another part that we've thought a little bit about in that is just to be able to, after a task is complete, to be able to add an invoice, or to be able to summarize several tasks that we've completed and say, I've done this amount of work. We might have fixed fees for the kind of work, and then just generate things like that, so that so it's easy enough to read off of what has been done, to get that back in.
Awesome. So what this would be like invoicing or aggregation of effort. Invoicing is fine for now?
Yeah.
Okay, and would this be using REA?
I mean, I think it could be, but then that's if we're thinking about modules, maybe that's gonna put things a little bit on end. I'm not sure how to think about that, because if it's possible to do a lot of that in just REA and maybe not use like I'm not clear on exactly how much REA covers other things, basically.
Right. So let's see. What if I do this? Can then I do this? No, I can't. And this messes things up. Okay. Let's see what we've got. Okay, and REA is here. By the way, I know other people have an interest in this, so REA should be pretty much ready. PostP is finished the migration with to RSM, and we, like with Victor, we are starting to experiment with it and give initial feedback. And like this is exactly because REA gives you powerful grammatics to already be expressing a lot of these simple modules, right? Let's see. Oh, I'm a bit, oh, what's happening here? Something weird is happening. Let me reload.
That happened to me once too, where it connects to your mouse. And
yeah. Okay, so take, okay, REA in invoicing. I have a lot of energy for one module, and actually Hedayat and Victor, I think you know about this, which would be something like call to action. Hedayat, for context, this is what we were talking about in the Odyssey hackathon, right? And this is, Victor, what would cover some of the cases in the low-code conversation, which would be something like, I create a call to action in this membrane, right? So we have a DHT and I create a call to action, and I say, for this action to go forward, we need all these, we need to cover these needs, right? So, okay, I want to organize I don't know, an urban farming here in my neighborhood, but this is going to go ahead only if there are 10 participants committing, right? And okay, we need 10 participants committing, and we need also some shovel, and we need this and this and this. And if all of this is fulfilled, then the action is to go ahead, right? So it's like conditional commitment. And this could be used also for buyers clubs and things like that. And this would be like directly dependent on REA.
I remember the event, but also I wanted to mention ticket. Let me tell, maybe we can mix or they are maybe equal. I wanted to mention ticketing.
Yeah.
So for a little bit context, while we were designing the mutual credit, we needed to have a ticket for anything. In that time, we didn't have a joining proof. So we believe ticket can work as a joining proof. Do you think we already still need to have a module as a ticket? It means ticket can be anything. Generally, ticket means you need to do something to be able to join application. It can be triangulation. It can be issue ticket by a issuer as a ticket of concert or anything. So is that the same? We can say a call to action. It is the checklist. If all of them checked, then the ticket issue you can join. Am I right, or they are different?
I would decouple them. So one thing is the membrane and the actual membrane logic that checks whether your membrane is correct or not to enter this DNA. And another thing is the call to action. So you could implement an application in which if you did this call to action at the end, you get a membrane proof for another DNA, but I would decouple them, right? So a consuming application can depend on both and do this flow, but it's not built into the call to action module. I do think it's interesting to have something like a really small invitation by progenitor or something like that as a membrane zone. I don't know if any of you have thought about that.
So we have built for elemental chat, we built a small Holochain app that signs, that basically you send in who are you signing. It basically signs somebody else's agent key, and then that can be used as a membrane proof. And so that should be put into a zone so that you can do that for membrane proof servers. Because when you're building a membrane proof server or a membrane proof service, one of the many ways is that particular one, but there could be many other ways of getting a membrane proof. But that one itself should be made available. And then that can be used also internally for, well, it's interesting. There's probably a bunch of other things around that are similar around capabilities tokens that we should think about here too.
No, but that's a good point. That's mostly already built. Totally. Yes. Nice.
One question here: how this one can help more than the joining proof step in the workflow that we already have in RSM when we are installing? Right now in an installation, we have a joining proof, you know, the one step in installation. What kind of extra functionality and facility can be located inside this one as an extra module? It is a question. Clear.
Right. So the joining proof functionality of RSM doesn't really matter if there is no zone that checks the membrane proof. Right. So if like any DNA, when you install a DNA, you pass in a membrane proof, but that membrane proof needs to be checked by some zone inside the DNA, right? So this is the zone that would be checking if the progenitor has invited you, basically, right? So this would assume already some kind of progenitor, which is what elemental chat did. So maybe we should say what? Invitation by progenitor, or any names?
Yeah, that's probably pretty good. But yeah.
So it means I'm getting to my answer. It means about the joining proof, we need to reach to the concrete name that this module, it's good for joining proof for progenitor. This module is it for joining proof for triangulation. This one for this TKD.
Huh? Yeah. So this would only be invitation by progenitor. So this is only the progenitor signing your agent public key and you putting that as the membrane proof.
It is the things I would like to understand. For any pattern, we have a one building block. We cannot have all of them in a one building block.
Exactly right.
Yes, it is the question. It means one for progenitor, one for triangulation, one for ticketing.
Yeah, but
totally.
It's a little complicated on the membrane proof side, because on the membrane proof side, you don't have access to the DHT. It has to be self-signed. So there's a bunch of limitations on what you can do inside there. Or so you have to implement it a different way. I mean, you can have things that reject agents socially later when you're validating the agent identity. And so there's more complexity of the two types of membrane passing, because when you first install that membrane proof, that runs when you don't have access to the DHT. Because you're not a member yet. You can't send any messages. Which is why it has to be self-signed. But it doesn't mean we shouldn't do this. You're totally right. It's like there's a whole grammar of membranes, and some of them will work in different ways depending on where you are in the process of coming in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think also for the ticket you were talking about, that when I was thinking about that, I remember talking about that a while back. There are other things that I felt that would be really useful for ticketing, like you were saying on concert, that's something that's transferable also. Like you might be able to sell your ticket to somebody else. So it's something that needs to be able to be handled in that way. And maybe it has a seat. So maybe that's something that's really like, it's a useful thing to be able to coordinate with. But also for a similar, if you're working in a restaurant, for instance, you usually get tickets for every meal, for every like table has like a ticket with these are the dishes, and this is the table number, this is the time when it came in. So that kind of thing is also something that can be built on the same kind of pattern of tickets. So that I'm like, if you have a general kind of a ticket thing, it might be useful for lots of those kind of time space bound things.
While you are typing GM, let me give the example for visitors of the video to have a good context what we are talking about. This project that right now we are working, if you would like to join, you need to have 5 keywords I'm going to share in the description. It is the meaning of a joining proof. It means you are supposed to come to a network that can talk to others. So we are going to share these 5 keywords that you are able to join. We are talking about the different pattern of having this proof. Actually, it means right now we are really in a Holochain-in-Action. It means we are talking about the things that we are exactly working, and you see it. I wanted to actually explain that what we are talking about.
Yep. Cool. There is another one which I want to do at some point, which is aspects. And these would be like a supercharged tags, in the sense that you could tag any entry in the DHT. Okay, this is this notice about nature, and this task is membrane, and this whatever, like, you know what I mean? But more functionality to it. So you could create a type of tag which works by rating. So you would say, for example, this ride of like this Uber ride was 5 stars in cleanliness. Like, I don't like Uber that much, but anyway, just so you get the point. And this book was 3 stars in, I don't know, in openness or freshness or whatever. So you would have some different kinds of tagging mechanisms. So you could have like a tag that only gets tagged and so on. You could have tag that implements some kind of system. So did you like the movie? Very good, good, not so good, meh. Like rating, which is from, I don't know, 0 to 5, a continuum, something like that. And from that, you get automatic filtering and ranking across the multiple dimensions that can be created from that. I don't know if like it's a bit tricky because this one is a bit generic, but I hope I'm making some sense.
It means all the rating and voting is going to be another building blocks sub inside this one, or they are other actually block for the rating and voting.
Rating, yes, this is inside, like what I'm thinking about is inside aspects, but not voting. Voting is a whole different thing. This would allow for things like rate this entry and then get me all the entries ranked by this kind of rating that I like. And I like this kind of rating and this kind of rating and this kind of rating. So get me all the entries that match this pattern.
So there's something that I find interesting. So one of the things that's interesting about this whole thing is thinking about the kinds of UIs that can be attached to the zones, that the composable UI bits. And so it's neat to think about mixing in that rating zone into your app. And then you're going to need a bit of UI that can mix in with that. And so a similar thing to me would be phases. Like, because I've been thinking about this in terms of Kanban boards and how powerful Kanban boards are. So this app, Acorn, if you click on the bottom right, it has a priority mode where you can go and you can organize things by priority, which is not quite what, and then, but also the things that you were just showing, the colors, they're meant to be the phase that a particular item goes through. It's like you have no idea what it is. Its status is uncertain. We know that it's in progress, but we know how well it's done. You know, there's these particular phases I don't think are the exact same ones that we used in the original Acorn. But if you have any kind of phasing, that's basically a column and a Kanban board. And so you can organize your items into that if you have phasing. And so it's an interesting thing to generalize, because then a generalized UI could display things according to the phases that whatever those things are that are using.
Totally. So, that's really cool. I'm going to draw this arrow with a question mark. I can't use the question mark, but
can I see it like this one, Guillaume, like a cube? The aspect, it is kind of a cube that you are going to take a look. It means different aspect of the, it means.
Right, different aspects of the same thing give you an idea of what it's like.
Something like this.
That phase generalizable phase thing is also something that I think would be really interesting in events, and it's kind of connected both to like the call to action and ticketing thing, actually, like because it's usually something that you start out kind of talking about doing something, or a lot of the time, at least that's my experience, and then you're like, oh, we're kind of doing this thing, and then you don't know quite if it's happening, and then eventually it's like, oh yeah, we definitely do it. We've set a date, we're da. And that would be really cool to be able to have an event, like if you have it, if we're a group, for our village, for instance, there could be a bunch of things that people are like, I'd like to do this at some point, but we don't really know how or when, and it's kind of in the beginning phase, whereas and they can just list the things that are like, I just want to see the things that are happening, and I don't want to see all the stuff that's kind of brewing. But then maybe somebody's just like really interested in starting something new. So that would be really cool to integrate in like an events, like having that connection between the events and the phases.
That's amazing. I like that. That's cool.
Guillaume, also please $2 for for vote and rate.
So you mean like this? No, rating. And then another one for voting?
Yes, they are going to be building blocks. Anybody would like to implement rating or voting, it can be abstraction. They can easily say, for this topic, the topic can be any entry, you know? They can say, for this entry or for this topic, I want to have rating. Or in voting, they can also say, for this list of topics, we are going to have a rating or voting. They can easily implement and use in any context they would like to have.
Yep. This like we need to discuss with which kind of voting this is, because in voting, I really don't see one big generic module. I see the dot voting as one module. I see the, I don't know, ranked voting as another module, because they are quite different from each other, or maybe sharing some dependencies, but I think it should be specific, like each module should be a specific kind of voting. But yes, I totally resonate with you. Cool. What else? That's a good amount for now. Like it's a lot, but yeah, go.
No, I was just gonna say I saw that Connor just joined, so I should say, hey, thanks for letting us play with all this cool stuff.
Yay!
Hi, folks.
Hi, Connor.
Hi, Connor.
I
Hey,
just
Connor.
tasted in another thing, like, because I'm like, how the heck is there multi-parenting happening in here? It's not supposed to work, but it does.
Yeah, it's not supposed to work. That's right.
But look, there's a couple places over in the map where you've got multi-parents, which it should work. I mean, this is something we need to make it happen. But look at them; they're there.
Well, that's interesting. Fascinating. How's it going?
We are having a blast. It's really fun. We also found some quirkiness, and I think Eric has been taking notes of that. But
cool.
Yeah, overall we've been having a great time.
Oh, great group of people here. Yeah, I'm just dropping in quickly. Probably I won't be here for long because I have a meeting like in not long from now. But so sort of carry on. But this is awesome.
Yeah, and thanks so much for putting all this work into it. Like, it's lovely.
Right on. It's exciting to see it in use.
Totally.
Hey, you want to paste the words in again so that Connor can be able to get this, come to this tree later and look at the data?
Done. You got them, Connor? Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe it's good to say actually for the video also that this is 0.5.5. Yeah. So if somebody tries to install it, it needs to be the right version.
Okay, that's right.
Cool. So, what do you think? Any other ideas?
I think this is a fantastic effort, and actually, there's a ton of other ideas that I have about things we should be putting on here, but I feel like it's probably big enough for now.
Guillaume, have you put on like any of the Acorn related dependencies that have been published, such as like HTK CRUD?
Right, we haven't. let's do that.
But so far, we've mostly been doing, yeah, because well, HTK cred is a full zone. Yep. Yep.
No, it's more of a it's like a helper. Like it's kind of like HC utils in a way, except it does a whole bunch of stuff. Like, and you can just So
that's interesting. We should make a distinction on this tree. We should have like the zones, like versus the libraries, because there's going to be a bunch of other libraries that. So maybe we just put one
Yeah, because there's also Electron Holochain, which is a general purpose Node.js module for running Holochain in the context of an Electron app.
Yeah, and I don't think that we have built a general purpose one for Tauri, but we should probably extract that out too. If people want to use Tauri instead of Electron, because the launcher is based on Tauri.
Yep.
Well, we didn't put Sin up here, which should be here because
Okay, so let's see. Sin and what? Let's add it in we for now. What do you think, Eric?
The thing that I was thinking about is that the Sin library is something that people could use for anything. So like the dependency would be like, well, we might use it in we, but I was thinking about more like Sinbox once we actually have, and Sin HackMD. Those are the two that I'm really, and then talking stickies would be, talking stickies would be the thing to put on it.
Cool.
For some reason, when I'm hearing Sin, I'm hearing it spelled SIN in my mind, and it's like it's like the wrong kind.
Yeah, we're into vices. That'll be another one.
Cool. So this feels great. This feels like it's not complete. It can't be really, but as a first pass and breath, I think it's awesome. Yeah. What do you think, guys?
I think it's great.
Cool. So, okay. Yeah, Hedayat, like, I'm just reading your message. I think, yeah, we have been like having a lot of fun and doing a good run. Do you want to stop the recording here? We can just say goodbye. So, okay, so this has been like the first of many of we don't know exactly what. So maybe we are going to come again in Holochain-in-Action. Maybe this is going to morph into other things also. I know Pospi is one of the people that would want to participate in this a lot for specifically for REA and REA related modules and applications and so on. And I think that could be a really good like that's a part of the ecosystem that we can't miss, and neighborhoods and all that side. So yeah, like we don't know how this is going to evolve. So yeah, stay tuned, I guess. Let's see where we go from here.
Yeah, and just the thing about neighborhoods is a good point, right? Because they've got the whole reputation library and a whole DSL for reputation, which will be interesting to see how that plays out and is reusable in different contexts.
Yep.
So yes, is there any other last sentence that before inside the recording? So to wrap up, anybody knows that our meeting is a little bit always longer than the recorded version. Generally, we try to have a not really long, not really short, with a good content, a recorded version. So if you would like to join this weekly virtual community meetings and you believe you're a developer or you would like to add something or build, go to description and fill out the application form. And I believe this topic, knowing ecosystem and what ecosystem, Holochain ecosystem needs a building block. We need to have another session for sure, or maybe more sessions, more than 2. And we talked a few times about the Holo REA. If you have a bunch of questions, I hope one day we could expand the Holo REA in one session, at least one dedicated session, because there are a lot inside the Holo REA. Thank you everybody for joining. For sure, recording is going to be stopped. We love you. Stay tuned. See you later.